So today we're going to take a closer look at credible sources, hence the lovely microphone here in the top corner. So on Tuesday, after your all's ACT, you all completed a pre-assessment for me that kind of gave me some background on how much you know about credible sources and where to find them. And you all actually had a great baseline knowledge for this. So we're just going to go through some reminders, and then I'm going to show you all how to find some sources. So what exactly is a credible source? This is a source that has either been written by an expert in the field and or it's been reviewed by their peers. So basically it's a source that you know you can trust to use in your paper because it's coming from experts. Whether it's been written by an expert or whether it's been reviewed by experts, you know that somebody who knows what they're doing has written it and has read it. So the main thing that you all needed more help with was where you can find a credible source. So in this age of social media and constant articles being shared on Facebook and Twitter and all these different areas, it's kind of hard to know what you can and what you cannot trust. So what you all are going to be looking for is what we would call scholarly sources. So these are sources, again, that are written by an expert or that have been reviewed by an expert. So some places that you can find these types of sources is Google Scholar, which is what you all will be using a lot of actually for this research paper. There's also something called EBSCOhost that you will use a lot in college. This has thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of articles on it. This is what I used a lot in college. You can also use sources such as newspapers, any website that ends in edu, .gov, or .org. These are all sites that either the government sponsors or is a nonprofit, and so it's not somebody who has necessarily bought a .com, but it is a source that you can trust. And lastly, scholarly journals. This is something, again, that you will see a lot of on Google Scholar and EBSCOhost, but this is something where people have to be published, and in order to be published in one of these, it has to have been reviewed by your peers, and it goes through so many different stages to be published. So some examples of unreliable sources that you all cannot use. I know you're going to fight me on it, but you cannot use Wikipedia. This is something that can be updated by any random user on the internet, and maybe they do change it very quickly, but in those couple of minutes that you access it, it could have incorrect information. You don't want to do just a general Google search and take any .com that comes up, because a .com is something that somebody has paid for, so you don't know if that person is trustworthy to go onto their site and read their information because you don't know their background. You don't know that they're an expert or that anything they have written on their page has any type of merit. Kind of the only exception to this is, say, if you were getting game stats and you went to ESPN, because they are going to get those stats from an actual college website like Louisville's or UK's, or Duke, for Jonathan and Michaela. Again, like a newspaper website, because you know that that's the same thing that they print that is on their actual website. So those are pretty much the only .coms that you can trust. So for our sake, we do not want any .coms. Social media is another place that's an unreliable source. You don't know if somebody who's tweeting something is an expert, or a lot of things get posted on Facebook, and you wouldn't want to use something like an Odyssey article to help prove your research paper, because that's written by college students who are not experts at what they're doing. Lastly, something that has been very popular lately is fake news websites. So these are generally easy to spot by just looking at the website itself. If you can tell that it's not put together very well, or it's not something like the New Yorker or something that is a trusted source for information, chances are it is fake news. So these are all examples of what you cannot use in your all's paper. So what I want you to do now is take a second and pull out a half sheet of paper. On this half sheet, you all are going to be answering some pause or hot questions throughout this video. So your first two questions that I want you to pause this video and answer really quick is, what does a reliable internet source end in? And why is Wikipedia not a reliable source? So go ahead and pause this video really quick, answer those questions, and then press play again. So, why are credible sources important? Why does it matter that you use something that is trusted versus something that's not trusted? First of all, for accuracy. So, using credible sources ensures that you have accurate information to support your argument, and your argument is only as strong as the support that you have for it. So, if you are not using, your ethos, logos, and pathos to help your argument, then that sets it back already. But also, you want to use credible sources, one that your reader knows they can look at and trust and say, okay, this is accurate information. I know that this person is not trying to sell me something that isn't accurate. Again, it helps with your ethos as a writer. So using credible sources adds to your credibility as an author. It really proves to your audience that you have taken the time to do quality research and become informed on your topic. Because in your research paper, you're going to be like a mini expert on what you're talking about. So in order to establish that type of trust with your reader, using credible sources and using accurate sources establishes your ethos and makes them feel like they can trust you. So your next hot or pause question is, how does using reliable sources help you as an author? So go ahead and pause this video really quick, answer this question, and then press play. So last but not least, you all are going to watch this video on how to evaluate different sources before we jump into where to find your sources. So go ahead and watch this video.
To succeed at your assignments or research, you should only use quality information, whether it's found in books, journal articles, or websites. Use the following criteria, also known as the CRAP test, to critically evaluate any source of information. Currency. When was the information published, updated, and/or revised? Is the information out of date for the topic? Relevance, or intended audience. How much information is presented? Does it provide a superficial treatment or a detailed analysis? Is the information related and relevant to your topic? Is the readership level appropriate, neither too simple nor too sophisticated? Authority. Not all books or journal articles in an academic library are scholarly. Who are the authors and/or editors, and what are their credentials? For journals, are articles peer-reviewed? That is, do they have the approval of other experts in the field? For books, are they published by scholarly presses, popular presses, or self-published? Accuracy and verifiability. Does the source match your understanding of the topic? Can you verify the claims in other sources? Never rely on just one source. Is there a bibliography or list of works cited? What types of sources and how many relevant sources are cited? This is an indication of the depth of the author's knowledge. Purpose and objectivity. Is the purpose stated? Is the subject approached from an objective standpoint? If not, what is the author's bias and how might it influence the information presented? Be wary, there may be more than one perspective on any given issue. Using these criteria, currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose, to critically evaluate sources of information will help ensure that you're only using quality sources of information. If you need more help with evaluating sources, visit one of.
So this kind of just sums up everything that I just stated in a fun acronym, which is CRAP. So it's kind of fun for you all to do. So your last hot question or pause question for this video, I want you all to write down on your paper, what does CRAP stand for? Once you are done with this, go ahead and press play on the video and go on to the next portion. So now we're going to look at where to find a source that will help you with your paper. So what I want you all to start out using is Google Scholar. So it's right here, it's scholar.google.com. So you will need to be logged into your all student account. So just whenever you go onto Google, go ahead and log on to your school account and you get this for free through a student account. So let's say that I want to look at college acceptance rates and how social media impacts that. So I'm going to type in college acceptance rates, and social media, and see what pops up. So the first thing that I notice whenever I'm looking at this is the blue is the title of the article. This tells me that it's been cited, over 1,800 times, and it also gives me who the authors are. Another thing that it has here is the date. So I see this one was written or published in 1970. Social media didn't even exist in 1970, so I automatically know that this is not relevant for my topic. So what I want to do is go over to here where it says anytime. Think of the C part of CRAP. It's the currency, so you want to make sure that it's timely. So I'm going to click on since 2013. If you want to do any time before that, you could also click on custom range. So this gives me a lot of more information. So from here, now that I have currency taken care of, I want to move on to relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. So this is where I'll start clicking on sources and picking one that really helps with my topic. So in reading through these, none of them actually talk about acceptance rates in college. So I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to say, well, maybe I want to, tweak my topic a little bit. So I'm going to look at social media use in college in general. So here I already have since 2013. I can look at and see, how many times it's been cited, because that can help you prove that it has authority, and chances are it has some accuracy with that too. You can incorporate both of those. So, this one here looks like a good source to me. It says that it was published in 2013 and it was cited 87 times. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Of course, it doesn't pop up, so sometimes that's going to happen. So sometimes your first pick may not pop up. So that's whenever you go and look at, trying to find another source. So let's see if this one comes up. So here we go. We see that it has the different authors here, and you can click on them to get more information and get more on their background. It gives you the highlights. It shows where it was published, which is Addictive Behaviors, and it gives you the volume. So this means it was published in some kind of journal that appears many times. So knowing that it's volume 65 also helps. So from here, you could go and you could look at the abstract, kind of to figure out if it is. And again, with your all student information, you all will be able to access this stuff. Because I do not have a student account, I cannot. But you would click on the abstract and click on the different links here to help figure out if it is relevant to your argument and if it has your purpose. So you want to use CRAP to help evaluate your sources. And again, you all need to make sure that you are using sources that you can trust. So you want to use scholarly sources, and you want to make sure that they aren't just scholarly, but that they relate to what your argument is going to be. That is the most important part from here, is really honing in on that relevance and purpose part and making sure that you're just not picking a source because, it's got a couple of the words that match the argument that I'm trying to make. Really take the time to do your research and to read through and to find something that helps support each one of your main points. So at the end of class today, you all need to turn in a thesis statement. So follow your tone method, give me your topic, your opinion, or your argument, and your 3 main points or your 3 pieces of evidence that you're going to have. And you all are going to need to have at least one scholarly source to support each piece of evidence that you have from your thesis statement. So from here, you need to get your pause questions looked over by myself or Mr. Chancellor, and from there you will start researching for the remainder of the class period.